What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down how the market's looking so far and what could end up playing out for NIO as we're seeing some new developments on the charts. And also what I think the market may do moving forward as we have new developments as well. But before I bring anything down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Looking at the market right now, and if you look at NIO, we saw some red during the after hours, but the market's still trying to hold up. But the question is, how will we move going forward, and what are some important levels to watch for? Well, looking at NIO, we're approaching some critical support very close to this 7 point, or I would say the $7 area flat. It's historically some very strong support for it. So we're going to be watching to see how this ends up holding up and how this ends up moving going forward. But when it comes to news affecting NIO, we're seeing some new headlines coming out. The news is saying that the beginning of the end is here. It's the end for NIO. NIO is going to fail, and they're continuing to talk about how the layoffs that have happened maybe signaling the beginning of the end. And they're saying that they're continuing to see more ratings to the downside, and they're continuing to see more bearish news for it. They're once again just saying that NIO is in a very bad state. In my opinion, the issues that NIO is facing are common issues that companies in the EV sector are going to continue to face because right now, especially when you're introducing new models, the margins tend to not be the best. So with the poor margins, with the difficulties coming given the current macroeconomic environment, looking at their operating expenses and etc. from their balance sheets, it's not looking the best. That's honestly the short-term truth. But this is very similar to what has happened to Tesla in the past. In the past, Tesla was getting criticized for not being profitable. Do you guys remember that? That was going on for years and years and years with all the criticism, with all the negative news. People continued to hold the same narratives, the same views that Tesla would fail, and yet Tesla managed to prevail. And I think that NIO has potential as well to do something similar. Now, for the short term, looking at what's happening in China, things may be difficult, but I still believe in a comeback for this company because of its fundamentals and because of the growth we're seeing when it comes to deliveries. So I'm not losing faith despite what these negative articles are saying. And I think that NIO just needs more time to really prevail. For the short term, we're continuing to see things just changing in the markets. The market's becoming greedy. We're seeing more buyers continuing to step in and dictate how we're moving. But this indicator hitting greed tends to not be the best of signs. At least when the market turns greedy, that's when you should be a little bit more careful. And we just barely entered greed mode. We're continuing to see other indicators out there suggesting that the markets are extremely greedy. If you look at momentum, if you look at the put and call positioning, we're seeing a lot of these puts being closed. The short squeeze has continued, and now the market's turning very greedy. So we're going to be watching to see if this continues as time goes on and how this ends up continuing. For earnings, we have Nvidia's earnings for Tuesday. Just zoom in a couple of others for Monday, but nothing too crazy. And we're going to be watching to see what other developments we get moving forward. Now, as far as NIO goes, NIO has claimed that the 2100 or the 2100th, excuse me, guys, I think I said that wrong. NIO Power Swap Station is up and running, which is great news for them. And this makes me very optimistic and very positive, at least for their future. Now, moving forward, when it comes to the way NIO is moving, I just want to mention that we're looking a bit more bearish. We've been on a downtrend on the 4-hour time frame. And on top of this, NIO is continuing to look very weak relative to the market. But although that's the case, we're approaching this key resistance right here around this $7 area. So the way NIO moves is going to be dependent on the market. And I think that it's going to be very boring for the next week because we have Thanksgiving in the US. So during the Thanksgiving period, we tend to see some weakness amongst charts historically. And we might just see that continue as time goes on. So what I'm thinking about the market is this. We're going to be watching some key levels on SPY. If SPY manages to get above 452, we're going to be bullish. We could get one more push. If we end up failing right from where we currently are, watch 448 break and we're going to turn bearish. My gut tells me either get one last pop with Nvidia's earnings, then we just start dropping. So we could go as high as 455, then reject, or we could just reject from here. I think that there's going to be a pullback coming soon, and I think that that's going to affect NIO. As far as Tesla goes, we're very flat right now. We're going to be watching to see if there's a little bit more downside. We'll watch that 230 support to see if that holds. Right now, Tesla's been stuck between 230 and about 235, at least for most of Friday. We might just continue to range trade, at least for the time being. To add on to this, I just want to mention that Aapl got this big rejection. It was very close to 190 to 191. And then after that, we saw this thing continue to drop. We have a bearish divergence on Aapl that's developing. It's continuing to remain this way. But if this thing gets some kind of rejection soon, that would be the trigger for the market to switch. So there is a bearish signal developing on Aapl. It hasn't broken down yet, and we're going to likely see if it loses 188 soon. That can trigger some more downside, but we're kind of flat right now. For the QQQ, if we're bullish, you want to see it break above 388. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose support down here at 382. Right now, we're just trading kind of flat. We're going to be watching to see how Nvda affects this. Nvda is going to be the biggest factor for Tuesday. I think that that's going to be huge for the whole market. So if we lose 382, which I think is going to happen this week, I think it's eventually going to happen, whether we get one more pop and drop or if we just drop from here. But if that happens soon, expect some downside. As far as Nvidia goes, it's looking kind of flat right now, but if it gets one last attempt for 500, there could be one last attempt to push up, and it might just kind of range trade around here for some time. And then we'll see what happens after earnings. Earnings is going to be huge for that. So with that being said, I think that the market kind of lagging this week could slow NIO down. We might just get very boring price action. Look for a little pop and a retest of 7.57, then a rejection, and very sideways price action, the very low sevens. I think it's just going to chop around for a bit. I think this week might be kind of slow because it's going to be a very slow trading week. We're not going to see a whole lot going on in the US markets. We only have 4 days of trading because of Thanksgiving week. So we're going to be watching this, and we're going to be just very, very patient to see how this continues. And I anticipate that we're going to see very sideways price action nonetheless. On the 30 minutes time frame, we're also looking quite flat. We have a potential wedge forming here, which means we could get a push up for like 7.57 to 7.6. We're going to push a little bit higher. Then we're just going to see some sideways price action, at least for this week. I'm anticipating it to be kind of boring, but I do anticipate things to get better once we get closer to earnings and once we get very close to their next deliveries report. All right, so I hope that's as clear, guys. We might be a little boring for the short term, but I think things are going to be fine for the medium term. I don't think this is the end from or for NIO. Don't listen to what the articles are saying. We're just going to be waiting for earnings, and we're going to be waiting for deliveries to continue to improve. So just be patient, remain calm, cool, and collected. Enjoy what Sunday has to offer. We have a short trading week this week as Thursday is going to be off, and I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. Thank you all again. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And peace out.